Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into a really thought-provoking essay from the Cosmos Institute that basically says we're thinking about the future of AI and work all wrong. In fact, we might be asking for something that's holding us back entirely.
So let's kick things off with this classic quote. Now, whether Henry Ford actually said it is up for debate, but that doesn't really matter. It perfectly nails a huge idea. What we think we want is usually just a better version of what we already know. We see the future as a straight line, and we completely miss the radical new thing that's just around the corner.
And this is what the essay calls faster horse thinking. It's this completely human tendency to talk about the future using the words of the present. Like calling the first cars horseless carriages. We see the new technology, but we can only process it through the lens of the old one. And in doing so, we miss how it's about to change the entire game. Which, of course, brings us to the big question for today. Are we falling into that exact same trap right now with artificial intelligence? Are we all just clamoring for a faster horse when we should be trying to imagine the automobile?
Well, the essay argues that the answer is a resounding yes, and our modern-day faster horse is this concept of the AI remote drop-in worker. You know the idea, a system you can just plug into a job, like a human freelancer, that does all the same tasks, just faster and cheaper.
So this sets up two totally different ways to look at the future of AI. It's a clash between a vision centered on a single, super smart AI and another one focused on a whole system of AIs working together. And this chart breaks down the two models perfectly. On one side, you have the singleton model. That's our faster horse. It's like a brilliant freelancer who does task 1, then task 2, then task 3. But the ecology model, that's a whole different ballgame. It isn't one AI, it's a team. You've got an architect AI, a security AI trying to break its code, a compliance AI checking the rules, all working at the same time, in parallel, making the final product way more robust. Now, here's the thing. This idea that a system of many can be smarter than the smartest one, that's not some new futuristic AI concept. Not at all. In fact, people have been wrestling with this idea for centuries. I mean, we're talking over 2,000 years ago, Aristotle was already thinking about this. He basically wondered if a group of regular folks, by combining all their different viewpoints, can actually make a better decision together than even the most brilliant single person. It's the exact same question we're asking with AI today. Is the real power in the one or in the many? And you can see this idea in action all around us. Think about how a jury works, or how Wikipedia gets built, or how scientists use peer review to make their work stronger. In every case, the intelligence isn't in one person. It emerges from the structured way the group interacts. Okay, but let's be honest, this brings up a huge objection. We've all seen crowds turn into mobs and get things spectacularly wrong. So, what's the difference? What separates a wise crowd from a dumb mob? This is where the idea of smart mobs comes into play. The term itself is supposed to be a double-edged sword. Technology gives us this amazing new power to coordinate, to act as one. But that power can be used for amazing good, or it can spiral into herd mentality and total chaos. So really, it all boils down to structure. Smart crowds have rules of the game that force them to integrate different views. Think about prices in a market, or peer review in science. They make disagreement productive. Dumb mobs don't have that. They just have things like information cascades on social media, where one idea just snowballs, whether it's true or not. All right, so let's take this huge lesson about structure and bring it back to AI. Because it turns out the exact same principle is at play right inside the machine itself. AI pioneer Marvin Minsky had this absolutely revolutionary theory called the Society of Mind. He argued that what we call intelligence isn't some single magical thing. It's actually an emergent property that comes from tons of smaller, simpler, even mindless little agents in our brains, all working together and competing. And you can see this exact idea happening in AI today, almost like Russian nesting dolls. On the inside, within a single model, you have countless little signals from the training data getting integrated. The next layer out is an agent system, where different specialized models team up. And the final layer could be a whole economy of AI systems, all interacting, checking each other's work, and creating a kind of intelligence that's greater than the sum of its parts. This leads us to a really powerful conclusion from the source material. Maybe the race shouldn't just be about building one bigger, more powerful model. The real frontier, the real game changer, is creating better ecosystems, smarter systems that let these AIs work together effectively. So let's bring it full circle. We started with the faster horse problem, this idea of an AI remote drop-in worker. So what's actually so wrong with thinking that way? Well, the fundamental mistake, and this is the key takeaway, is that the metaphor treats intelligence as if it's an isolated property of an individual, like your height. It makes you think you can just pull one worker out and plug an AI in, and everything else stays the same. But as this quote puts it so perfectly, that's just not how complex work actually gets done. Real capability doesn't live inside one person or one AI. It lives in the messy web of connections between them, the feedback, the relationships, the shared history. And this really shows the shift in thinking we need to make. Faster horse thinking only looks at the individual agent. Ecology thinking is a huge step up. It looks at the entire system. But the true revolution, the essay argues, happens when we stop trying to optimize the old system and start thinking about how to redesign the very nature of coordination itself. So if the AI drop-in worker is just a faster horse, what's the automobile? The real world-changing impact of AI isn't going to come from replacing individual workers one for one. It's going to come from completely redesigning our workflows, our companies, and the very fabric of how we work together. Which leaves us with the big provocative question, what kind of entirely new vehicle are we failing to even imagine?